When patients sit across from me and ask, "Doctor, what is one simple thing I can do for my health?" they often expect something complicated, a new supplement, an expensive treatment, a dramatic lifestyle overhaul. But sometimes the most powerful medicine grows quietly on a bush: blueberries. I remember an elderly patient of mine, Margaret. She was 67 and concerned about her memory. "I walk every day," she told me. "I don't smoke, but I feel slower." She wasn't sick, her lab results were acceptable, yet she sensed something subtle changing. That conversation was when I began explaining what I now tell many of my patients. Blueberries are not just fruit, they provide powerful biological support. Their deep blue color comes from compounds called anthocyanins, potent antioxidants that help protect cells from oxidative stress. Oxidative stress is essentially the internal rusting that occurs as we age. Every day, the body produces free radicals, unstable molecules capable of damaging DNA, proteins, and cell membranes. Over time, that damage accumulates and contributes to aging, inflammation, cardiovascular disease, and cognitive decline. Anthocyanins help neutralize these free radicals. What makes blueberries particularly fascinating is that some of these compounds cross the blood-brain barrier. Not many nutrients do this efficiently. Once inside the brain, they appear to support neuronal signaling and reduce inflammation in brain tissue. The brain consumes about 20% of the body's total energy, while accounting for only 2% of body weight. That metabolic intensity makes it vulnerable to oxidative damage. Neuronal membranes are rich in fatty acids that are easily oxidized. Over time, this affects communication between brain cells. Research suggests that blueberry polyphenols influence signaling pathways related to brain-derived neuronal trophic factor, or BDNF, often described as fertilizer for the brain. BDNF supports synaptic plasticity, the ability of neurons to strengthen and form new connections. Plasticity is the foundation of learning and memory. As we age, BDNF levels tend to decline. Chronic inflammation further suppresses neuronal resilience. Blueberry compounds appear to support these pathways, helping maintain cognitive function over time. But the brain is only part of the story. Cardiovascular health begins silently, long before symptoms appear. The inner lining of our blood vessels, the endothelium, regulates blood flow. When healthy, it produces nitric oxide, allowing vessels to relax and expand. When damaged, vessels stiffen and inflammation increases. Regular blueberry consumption has been associated with improved endothelial function and modest reductions in systolic blood pressure. Flexible arteries reduce long-term strain on the heart. Blueberries may also help protect LDL cholesterol from oxidative modification. Oxidized LDL is more likely to contribute to plaque formation in arteries. The antioxidant compounds in blueberries reduce this oxidative process. There is growing evidence that blueberries may improve insulin sensitivity. Insulin resistance is closely linked to cardiovascular disease and metabolic decline. Elevated blood sugar damages blood vessels and promotes inflammation. Blueberries have a low glycemic load and contain fiber, helping stabilize blood sugar, while their polyphenols may enhance insulin signaling pathways. You cannot erase genetics, but you can influence expression. Nutrition interacts with gene expression through epigenetic mechanisms. Compounds in blueberries help regulate pathways related to inflammation, metabolism, and vascular tone. Aging itself begins at the cellular level. Oxidative stress increases, chronic low-grade inflammation rises, mitochondria lose efficiency, repair mechanisms slow down. Skin, constantly exposed to ultraviolet radiation and environmental toxins, experiences oxidative damage that breaks down collagen and elastin. Blueberries contain vitamin C, essential for collagen production, and polyphenols that help protect collagen from degradation. The immune system also shifts with age. Adaptive immunity weakens, while chronic low-level inflammation increases. Polyphenols in blueberries interact with immune signaling pathways, helping modulate inflammatory responses. The gut microbiome adds another layer. Blueberry polyphenols reach the colon, where gut bacteria transform them into bioactive compounds that support immune balance and intestinal barrier integrity. Healthy gut function influences systemic inflammation and overall resilience. Metabolic health is another major concern in midlife. Weight gain is often not about calories alone. It reflects declining metabolic flexibility. As insulin sensitivity decreases, blood sugar remains elevated longer after meals, promoting visceral fat storage and inflammation. Blueberries offer sweetness without metabolic instability. Their fiber slows glucose absorption, and their anthocyanins may enhance insulin signaling pathways within muscle cells. This does not mean blueberries burn fat, but they may support metabolic balance. Replacing processed desserts with whole fruit shifts both metabolic signals and long-term health patterns. When the conversation turns toward cancer, nuance becomes essential. No single food prevents cancer. Cancer is complex, involving genetic mutations, inflammation, oxidative stress, immune dysfunction, environmental exposure, and time. However, nutrition influences risk. Blueberries contain compounds that in laboratory studies reduce oxidative DNA damage, modulate inflammatory signaling, and influence pathways related to abnormal cell growth. Human research primarily shows associations between higher berry intake and lower overall cancer risk as part of a broader healthy dietary pattern. They are not a shield. They are a supportive factor within an anti-inflammatory lifestyle. And then we come to cellular aging itself. When we talk about aging today, we are no longer speaking only about wrinkles or gray hair. We are speaking about cells. At the microscopic level, aging is molecular. Every second, trillions of reactions occur inside the body. Cells divide, DNA replicates, proteins fold, energy is produced, and each process leaves a trace. One of the most studied markers of biological aging is telomeres. Telomeres are protective caps at the ends of chromosomes. Like the plastic tips on shoelaces, they prevent genetic material from fraying during cell division. Each time a cell divides, telomeres shorten slightly. Over years, this shortening accumulates. When telomeres become critically short, cells lose their ability to divide efficiently. They enter a state known as cellular senescence, a kind of biological retirement. Senescent cells often release inflammatory signals into surrounding tissue, contributing to what researchers call inflammaging, chronic low-grade inflammation associated with aging. What accelerates telomere shortening? Oxidative stress, chronic inflammation, metabolic instability, persistent blood sugar spikes, sleep deprivation, psychological stress. In other words, modern life. No food dramatically lengthens telomeres. That would be an irresponsible claim. But dietary patterns rich in antioxidants and polyphenols have been associated with slower biological aging markers. Oxidative stress damages DNA. When DNA damage accumulates, repair systems activate more frequently. Increased repair means increased turnover. Increased turnover means faster telomere shortening. When oxidative stress is reduced, damage slows. When inflammation is regulated, cellular stress decreases. When blood sugar remains stable, metabolic strain lessens. Blueberries contribute to these protective mechanisms. Their polyphenols activate endogenous antioxidant systems, stimulating the body's own defense enzymes, such as superoxide dismutase and glutathione pathways. Direct antioxidants neutralize free radicals once. Endogenous activation builds resilience continuously. Resilience is the true currency of longevity. There is also emerging research into mitochondrial health. Mitochondria are the energy centers of cells. Over time, mitochondrial efficiency declines. Damaged mitochondria produce more reactive oxygen species, creating a feedback loop of cellular aging. Polyphenols found in berries appear to support mitochondrial efficiency in experimental models. A cell that produces energy efficiently accumulates less damage. Less damage means slower biological wear.
Longevity is not one catastrophic event, it is cumulative micro-damage over decades. Protection must also be cumulative. Think in decades, not days. If a daily habit slightly reduces oxidative burden, if it modestly improves vascular function, if it gently enhances insulin sensitivity, if it subtly supports neuronal plasticity, over 10, 20, 30 years, that matters. We often search for dramatic solutions, but longevity responds to stability. Stable glucose, stable inflammation, stable vascular tone, stable mitochondrial output. Blueberries are not the fountain of youth. They are a small contributor to biological alignment. Alignment reduces friction inside the system. When repair outpaces damage, aging slows. When damage outpaces repair, aging accelerates.